If you found $100 on the street, would you pick it up or keep walking? Of course you take the money. So why do you keep picking winners and not betting on them? That's why I go to MyBookie. It's fast, it's easy, and they pay you when you win. Let's face it, guys, where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting on. So do the smart thing this football season. If you're going to bet with MyBookie. Did you know you could bet on games after kickoff? If by the second half it looks like you're going to lose your bet, you can always just take the other side at MyBookie. Join now and MyBookie will double your first deposit. Use promo code Detroit100 to activate the offer. That's promo code DETROIT100. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid.
Fellas, I want to tell you about a product that can improve your performance in the bedroom. And what better way to improve the quality of your life than to please the woman of your dreams? Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. Blue Chew is the fast and easy solution for any man looking to enhance their performance and step up their game. You don't have to be one of those guys that finishes quickly, or you don't have to be one of those guys that, at the end of the day, regrets not having a great sex life. Blue Chew is prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a discreet package, so no in-person doctor's visit, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code DETROIT. All you got to do is pay the $5 shipping and handling fee. Again, that's BlueChew.com, promo code Detroit to try it free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them for sponsoring the podcast.
The New England Warriors. Wow.
The New England Warriors. What are you going to call them? The Hamptons what? Or how? Not, can't be the Hamptons.
Oh boy.
They didn't all have the meeting. We gotta have something. I'm trying to think of something clever with AB. No, there's nothing. They didn't have to go meet AB. I can't wait until like the back room. Oh, Belichick negotiated his way, like told AB to get himself released, found his way to sign.
Do you know how crazy it is that the Patriots hung their 6th Super Bowl banner? And then
why do they do the wrong years?
I hate it. I can't stand it.
I'm looking at the thing. I'm like, they don't win in 04. Like, what are they talking about?
I know it says 2019, and it's like the 2018 Patriots won this. But they hung the banner. Then they hung 33 points on the Steelers 24 hours after they had just announced they were signing the Steelers' former number 1 wide receiver.
I mean, I wish that they just would have amended that rule and let AB be on the sidelines. Like, just to have him on the sidelines would have been amazing tonight.
Can you imagine if he played and the Patriots hung a 50-piece on him?
That would have been too good. Like, I'd have lost my mind if he played. But just having him on the sidelines would have been really cool.
After watching the Lions game, I didn't think there was any way anything could happen on Sunday Night Football that would cause me to lead the program with this. But then Sunday Night Football happened, and I saw what I believe to be the most perfect football team ever assembled in the history of the league.
I don't think Rex Burkhead is that good of a running back, but he's damn good for that team. I don't know how they make him so good, but
I saw somebody tweet that the Patriots, the way they execute on getting guys to just do what they do well is incredible.
Yeah. And then they trotted out Amendola Jr. to return punts. I was like, I thought we had
Gunnar Olszewski. What a powerful name. Kid? Gunnar Olszewski is such an incredible name for a punt returner.
For a white punt returner,
absolutely. Always.
Never met a black guy named Olszewski.
Josh Gordon's a monster.
He looks like a tight end, but he doesn't run like one.
Tom Brady's a 42-year-old MVP candidate.
The amount of times that Julian Edelman was open on that drag route off a play action look is going to keep Brady playing for 8 more years. Because he can just do that. It's out of his hand in a half a second.
Not
play
only
action,
that,
it's out.
Having an offensive line that has like 6 injuries in it, and there's still one of the best offensive lines in football.
That's a good D-line in Pittsburgh.
Not the best.
That's a good D-line in Pittsburgh.
It's a very good front 7 in Pittsburgh with Devin Bush and all of the rest of these guys.
Watt and Hayward.
It's a very good front 7, and the Patriots had no problem keeping the pocket clean.
Not a bit. I think he got hit he might have got hit a few more times. I think he only got sacked once.
The other take I saw from this, just like a quick takeaway from the game, is one of the beat writers said even once Antonio Brown comes back, the Patriots secondary is still scarier than their wide receiver core.
I've haven't been trumpeting this, but I've somewhat been saying it out loud lately that I don't think Juju Smith-Schuster is just going to be this amazing number one receiver that everybody thinks is going to take over. He definitely wasn't that tonight, but it's like he had Gilmore on him everywhere tonight. Like, he got loose a couple of times, but
somebody's got to play against the best corner in football.
Like, maybe he'll be better in the coming weeks, but if Juju Smith-Schuster isn't better, like, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in very big trouble. Ben Roethlisberger looked old.
I don't know. You see Cleveland today? They got to worry about Baltimore, but hey.
Yeah, Baltimore.
There'll be a wild card spot in that division for grabs for sure. And I don't know if Cleveland's going to be the one grabbing it after today.
Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and
Cincinnati,
who hung with Seattle.
But I think they're awful.
The new look Bengals, I guess. They're going to throw it 51 times a game.
I don't know how good Seattle's offense is either. I got questions there.
The wide receivers are lacking.
To be fair, this is the game that I watched by far the least. I think I saw 3 snaps.
Yeah, didn't watch a single play.
I was too busy watching that debacle in the desert. And I hate to transition to the Lions because we do still have to ask the question, just who in the NFL can beat the Patriots? But
it's not the Lions.
It sure isn't. And it's sure, boy, oh boy, Darrell Bevell could not have had a worse debut as offensive coordinator.
It was 27 years in 27 minutes. Like, that second half.
That's a really good way of putting it.
27 years of my life of watching Lions football encapsulated in those last 27 minutes. Like, just awful in every aspect of everything. They couldn't call plays. They couldn't tackle. They couldn't defend the pass. They couldn't defend the run. They couldn't do anything. Matthew Stafford couldn't find anyone, theoretically. Hawkinson a few times. Other than that, like...
Lone bright spot out of this game is TJ Hawkinson, who looked very well. Tremendous.
Great stuff.
The offensive line looked horrible. I think it was Taylor Decker's worst game as a pro.
It wasn't. It's just a routine day for Taylor Decker. Like, that's just
absolutely
just
awful.
Regularly awful.
He was 100% responsible for the strip sack in the first quarter, and he had like 17 penalties. The ocean of yellow flags being thrown at him, I couldn't even see him on the field at times.
It got to a point that the second a yellow flag came flying out, before anything ever happened, my dad would just be like, holding 68. Like, every time. Holding 68. False start 68. Every time, now I'm convinced he does it on purpose. He calls him Tyler Decker.
Again, I thought there wasn't going to be anything worse than Taylor Decker's offensive line play, but then, and I don't know if you saw this because you were probably on your way here, the Steelers ran a play where the false start was every player on the offensive line except the center.
Did they say it like that?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
He came everybody and said, false start, everyone on the offensive line except the center.
Also, Dick Stockton was so obsessed with Matthew Stafford getting away with false starts, clapping his hands, when in reality, that's not what the false start is. The false start is when you fake clap your hands a bunch of times. It's not when you actually clap your hands.
What is it? Like, the rules are something weird. Like, if you drop your shoulders or move your shoulders
it's
up,
like you have
something
to
about your upper body
motion.
positioning changing.
It's like a balk. It's like an attempt to deliberately deceive.
Or like move forward or something really odd. But that at the end of the game, I got pissed off because the flag got thrown for false start, and they were like, "Oh, did Stafford clap?"
Did Stafford clap? And I was like, "Shut up! That's not what they're calling." And they, of course, never called that. Also, it is infuriating to think that Larry Fitzgerald came into the NFL 2 years before Calvin Johnson. 3 years, excuse me. Was it 2 or 3? 04?
I hadn't even gotten to that point in that thought process.
Absolutely infuriating to me that is a thing.
Oh, man, that hurts.
It's just because he had such a good second half.
So let's get to the X's and O's of this. One, Kyler Murray looked really bad in the first half.
9 for 29.
Really bad.
Like, for the first 2.5 quarters, I think he was 9 for 29. And then he hit like 15 straight.
And I wanted to stress that it's not his fault that he looks this bad. The offensive line is horrible. The receiving core is horrible. There's nothing around him. Plus, they were playing down 17-0, which, by the way, the Lions led a game that eventually ended in a 27-27 tie, 17-0 at one point in the game.
I mean, he started 9 for 29 and finished 29 of 54.
or was it 17-3? Whatever it was, the Lions held such a lead.
They were up 16 in the fourth quarter. Start the fourth quarter, 24-6.
You just let a rookie quarterback, like last year, they let a rookie quarterback come into their own house and just punk them. This year, they almost got walked off by a rookie quarterback who attempted 54
They had
passes.
it won. They had it won. Like, it was inside. No more timeouts. We got the first down. It's over. Knee on it, and they called fucking timeout.
That's the one thing that needs to be talked about the most, because Darrell Bevell should be tried at the Hague. Like, Darrell Bevell, I'm convinced, is black-pilled. I don't think he knew where he was. I don't think he cares. He is... That made no sense. There's absolutely no football reason, no explanation, no excuse for having called that timeout.
And when you're in your first game as offensive coordinator with a franchise quarterback who's been here, 10 years? Trust the guy. Like, you got to have a little trust in him. That's how it builds. You got now Matt Stafford thinks he doesn't trust him. He comes over to the sideline and screams, "You don't trust me."
And you said, you are not the first person to say this to me, but you said before we got on, that was the most angry you've ever seen Stafford. I've never seen him like that.
Like, I've seen him despondent when Rodgers to Rodgers on the Hail Mary, when Calvin Johnson just fell down behind him. Like, I've seen him just be like, fuck. And, immediately encapsulate what it is to be a Lion in that facial expression. But what I saw today was, pure unadulterated anger. Like, he was actually mad. The other times he was just like, oh, fuck. This time it was like, no, we should have this game won. And if you listen to me, we'd have this game won. And now we lost, or we tied, which is basically feels like a loss.
It was, and I might have exaggerated, but I'm still holding to it. It's the most egregious error I've seen since J.R. Smith forgot the score in a finals game. Like, it is...
Because it's the same thing because everybody else instantly knew, no, what are you doing? Like, the same thing with JR.
And, Patricia, I know, has to okay the timeout.
Right.
But his face immediately after the play, when he saw the play that they ran and how successful it was, he was visibly furious. Stafford was screaming.
Oh, yeah.
And then when Darrell Bevell just draws up a verts.
Just everybody go deep. Come on.
He had a good creative play that worked and won the game.
Might have scored. They might have scored on that play. He easily had 15 more yards before anyone was touching him. But
At the very least, they would have won the game.
Without a doubt. Without question.
And instead, they gave it back to a rookie QB who was feeling himself. And, oh, by the way, he's coming off winning the Heisman.
Yeah. And his 40,000-year-old receiver makes huge catches for him down the stretch.
And Cliff Kingsbury wisely decided to just shut up and let Kyler take over completely, which is insane to think that a 22-year-old rookie kid is out there commanding an entire NFL offense. But it was better when Kyler was at the controls than the entire time Cliff Kingsbury was at the helm.
Tempo.
Cliff Kingsbury had no clue what he was doing. I'm just going to be very honest.
Those first 3 quarters, it sure didn't seem like it. I questioned a lot of it. The defense, it made me so infuriated to think that they don't have either of their best corners and we can't move the ball. Why can't we move the ball? Terrell Suggs is old as dirt.
Yeah, 24 in regulation does not feel like enough points for a team
17 in the first half.
That was missing Patrick Peterson and Robert Alford.
And doesn't have Tyrann Mathieu for the first time in however. No, he was in Houston. Never mind. But doesn't have. Didn't they lose a linebacker?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure enough about their turnover.
Either way,
it's not as bad as the Dolphins' turnover, but it's bad.
Yeah, a team that was god awful last year. Brand new coaching staff, rookie quarterback. You score 7 points in the second half. Come on, come on. They don't have either of their corners. Step on the throat.
And I'll tell you, it's not getting easier for the Lions.
Hell no. It never gets easier for the Lions.
The next few games are a rough stretch, and this was not the foot they wanted to start off on.
Hell no. They need a left tackle.
Being always Taylor Decker's an embarrassment at the position. Just atrocious. And
I don't know where you turn to for a left tackle either.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. The Patriots have maybe the best offensive line in football. They just had Marcus Cannon go down, and they only dressed 2 tackles tonight. Yeah. So I don't know where they go for a left tackle.
Rob Gronkowski.
Seriously.
It's as good a blocker as you're going to find out there.
You're not going to have to run too much, Rob. We just need you to throw your head at people a lot.
Block?
Just pass block. That's all we want you to do. Holy fuck. They're adding Antonio Brown.
Right.
Is there a team, honestly, is there a team that can beat him? Because I expected them to. Here's what I said.
Tyreek Hill can't play. I don't think so.
During the week, I said I didn't expect the Patriots to cover against the Steelers because it's banner night. It's a distraction. It's the crowd comes in on the fuck Goodell energy, and it happens like what happened a couple years ago when the Chiefs came in and won by 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. I didn't expect the Patriots to lose, but I didn't expect them to cover. I sure as hell didn't expect them to go out and win 33-3 without Antonio Brown.
And make it look easy on a couple of those touchdowns. 3 of those touchdowns. Well, Josh Gordon didn't make it look easy. Dude, he just made it look amazing.
Tom Brady had, 350 yards?
The 2 to Dorsett were both just like, holy hell. That's going to be AB next week.
And he showed off that he could still throw the damn ball, too.
We knew that.
I think all that talk about him retiring at the end of the year, he just went out and showed there's no reason to be talking about it.
I'll tell you what, a few more games like that tonight, I think this is Ben Roethlisberger's last year. Wouldn't shock me one bit.
It wouldn't surprise me, no.
He took a beating.
I don't think Brady and the Cliff have ever been further apart than they are right now.
Well,
maybe when he was 20.
Yeah,
But okay, and since
he's
Max
not
Kellerman,
close to the cliff.
Since Max Kellerman has started talking about the cliff, Brady and the Cliff have never been further apart than they are right now.
To quote Stephen A., holler at your boy.
I think that he might break the touchdowns record.
It's gonna be amazing to see what they do with AB. To think of how many times that underneath route was open with Jules tonight. How much more it's going to be open when you have AB taking the top off and Josh Gordon taking the top off on the other side. If they don't bite on the play action, you hand it off and he runs for 5 yards before anybody touches him. If you pull it, Jules is there. If they come up to play Jules, AB and Josh Gordon deep.
By the way,
what do you want?
By the way, Demaryius Thomas.
Oh yeah, by the way, he's coming. He didn't even play today.
He's coming off the bench. Sony Michel and James White in the backfield.
Burkhead. Don't sell him short.
The best offensive line maybe in football.
And Brady.
An elite front seven, an elite secondary. Bill Belichick and his son, Prince Stephen Belichick.
He's a weird-looking cat.
He's a funky
What's up with that haircut?
Dude, man.
That's an interesting haircut.
So that is the death of meritocracy in America.
I saw Brett Bielema on that sideline tonight, too. Totally forgot that he was there.
I'm at a point where, if this is Brady's last year, he picked the perfect team to go out with.
I don't know that I'd go out with these guys. I'd keep it rolling.
Holy shit. I don't know that I've seen a better football team. And that's where it's just... And then I put it in respect to the Lions. And contrast these two things where I watched an absolute crime against football on one hand, and then I watched the most glorious performance I've seen in years immediately after.
If he doesn't have some sympathy for Flores, I'm 77-3. What are we talking about next week? They'd just throw AB in there for reps, get him used to it.
So the Patriots and the Dolphins play. For those of you who don't know, the Patriots play the Dolphins next week. Can you imagine being the Dolphins right now?
I don't know if they're going to have players.
You said half
Mike
the team.
Florio said. I didn't say.
Sure.
Pro Football Talk said half the team's asking for trades. You can't tank in this sport. It's designed to not let you tank.
What happens? How does this get handled if players decide they're not going to show up or report and the Dolphins don't have a roster to field?
I mean, maybe don't trade your best wide receiver and your left tackle to Houston.
Do they have to forfeit games? How does this work?
It's just you can't sell a bunch 53 guys that you're trying to win.
Well, no, and
you want to win.
I said that from the start is when you traded Laramie Tunsil and when you traded Kenny Stills, and you made it very clear that you were not interested.
And you start Ryan Fitzpatrick?
Right, and you're not. You made it very clear you're not interested in winning one single game this season.
No,
it's real tough to go into that locker room and go, "Hey guys, go kill yourself."
Seriously.
So that we can get a high draft pick.
Seriously. And they traded Kiko. I totally forgot. They traded Kiko Alonso, too. They traded everybody.
They don't have anybody good.
No. Kenyon Drake, I wouldn't play. And no, screw this. I'm going to get hurt.
It's by design. Ryan Fitzpatrick, the only reason he's doing it.
Today.
And the only reason he's even playing is just...
Paycheck?
He's got nowhere else to go. Poor Josh Rosen, man. Going from Arizona where they gave up on him too fast, fired a head coach, moved him to Miami so that week 6 can come around and he can get his doorbell knocked in.
Dude, week 6, it was totally unfair of them to throw him out there in the fourth quarter today. That was entirely not fair. Like, his team had already quit. They put him out there with 5 linemen who did not want to play once they snapped the ball.
It's virtually malpractice what's going on in Miami.
It's not fair what's happened to Josh Rosen in 2 years.
I hate it.
Not.
I hate it because I truly believe he has star potential. I will go to my grave thinking that he could be a star in this league.
Criminal, or this afternoon.
And I think it's a disgrace. And hey, Kyler looked great today, so maybe it works out. But I do think it's incredibly unfair how Josh Rosen was booted from Arizona after 1 year and sent to a team that's basically going to put him in a box and ship him into the gates of hell. There's no shot when he becomes the starter in week 4, week 5, week 6, whenever it happens.
It could be next week easily.
You they got to play the Patriots twice. You saw what that front looked like?
Dude, Miami is going to, I don't know how they're going to get anybody
Buffalo.
to block.
Look at Buffalo's front.
Buffalo played great second half today. Even the Jets front. The Jets, I said 20 minutes ago, I think the Jets might be a playoff team.
Josh Rosen's going to go out there as the starter whenever it happens. If it happens next week, midway through the year, he will be in danger of losing his life every time he takes the field.
It was legitimately not fair for them to throw him out there. He threw a pick, he was running for his life, and none of it's his fault. The receivers aren't running their routes crisp. No one's blocking. No one's doing anything. And you're throwing this kid out there to die. And even if he doesn't die, he looks awful, and that's not fair to him.
Miami, to me, is the worst professional football team I've ever seen. It
was brutal.
I typically say that there is absolutely no credence to the idea that a college superpower could hold their own against any NFL team of any degree, even if it's the worst NFL team of all time. And then I saw today's Miami Dolphins, and honest to God, I don't doubt that Clemson and Alabama could put 2 touchdowns on them.
I think from what I saw from LSU the other night, they could score on them.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if you give Alabama or LSU or Clemson a 4-touchdown spread going in,
Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts could put points on them.
I think they could cover at least, because it's absolute malfeasance what's going on in Miami. And the point of this whole thing is that's the team that the Patriots are going to break in Antonio Brown on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who the corners are in Miami because they didn't say their names once today. Not like they ever made a play, but they're not any good.
Do you remember?
They have no one.
Do you remember in 2007 when Randy Moss and Tom Brady hung 38 points on the Miami Dolphins
quite lately.
in one quarter? It was 12 passes, and they scored
Miami,
4
dude.
touchdowns.
Miami is... Why are you tanking for Tua? What, do you think you're going to be able to build around him? You're Miami.
I'm telling you, next week is going to look a lot like Tom Brady and Randy Moss putting 38 points up in 12 passes. It's going to look very similar.
Can we just stay on that comp real quick? Because so many people were so mad at Antonio Brown, including Tony Dungy tonight, which, dude...
I thought that was a terrible take. That was a terrible take.
Get out of here. Louis Riddick, his take right away. They had him on SportsCenter right as it broke.
The Tony Dungy thing made me so mad because where the hell were you when Tyreek Hill got a $54 million extension? Where the hell were you? Didn't he openly support... Who am I thinking of? Tony Dungy has a track record of being...
Sharper?
Yes. Yeah. Tony Dungy, I got to look up the tweet, but Tony Dungy's got a track record of supporting bad people, and now he wants to give
Tony Dungy, noted coach of Marvin Harrison. Noted coach of Marvin Harrison, Tony Dungy.
It's the year that it is for this to be the thing. Yeah, this man coached Marvin Harrison. Yeah. It's just... Where are you to talk about Ben Roethlisberger? Where are you to talk about...
Roethlisberger. Exclusively Roethlisberger.
Where are you to talk about Tyreek Hill? Where are you to talk about all of these other guys? But you're like, Antonio Brown, we need role models.
I'm upset because it sets a bad precedent. Our players are supposed to be role models. Yo, bro, that's being a role model. Worry about your bread, youngsters. Secure the bag.
Side note, Antonio Brown absolutely had this plan from the moment he forced his way out of Pittsburgh.
1,000%. He never wanted to go to Oakland.
He knew he was going to be a Patriot from the moment he left Pittsburgh.
He consulted with social media people. What can I put on social media to help get me released? Hey, you know what? You should all of it. I didn't have a problem with anything. Putting the picture on social media of the fine, doing the video of Grandma, I'm free, which was hilarious. The only thing that I took a little bit of issue with was you probably shouldn't record somebody without telling them.
And
but Gruden thought it was funny.
It's illegal in California.
Yes,
like if the Raiders wanted to do something, they could. But Gruden
was amused.
weirdly is like, I love it. I think he's a great guy.
I think he's the most understood or misunderstood guy.
Was Gruden really at that point just doing anything he could that he thought would allow him to keep Antonio Brown, or was
the only thing they had to do to keep Antonio Brown was not fine him $215,000?
Void his $30 million.
Like all you had
guarantee.
to do, he would be playing tomorrow night if you didn't void that contract and you didn't fine him $215,000.
Instead, he's playing next Sunday in the middle of the day,
like
when the Patriots are going to unload 80 points into Brian Flores' ass.
Like the real factor is that you have traded Khalil Mack and now let Antonio Brown go essentially for nothing. Like they didn't get really anything back in the Khalil Mack trade.
It's a lot of teams that should be looking at John Gruden and going, thanks for fucking up the league for us, pal.
Enjoy the next 8 years and your next 80 million. Like that you can keep fucking up and we'll keep taking your players that don't want to play for you. Because you only want guys who want to wear the silver and black and the autumn wind is a Raider. Great. Good luck, buddy. You're going to lose by 30 tomorrow night to Denver.
Week 1 NFL, other reactions. My biggest takeaway is I want to wait and see what team can beat the Patriots. The Chiefs looked great, but their defense sucks. It's awful. Gardner Minshew looked like Joe Montana at times.
Phenomenal player, Gardner Minshew.
I don't think Gardner Minshew's a phenomenal player.
To boot.
But that defense defense blows.
Mike Leach could teach quarterbacks a little bit. Like I think if they run that type of offense, he'll be serviceable for a little while. But like we were talking a minute ago, it's going to be really interesting to see who they bring in for a workout or who they try to go get.
The Godfather's up in that press box.
You got Tom Coughlin.
Stewing.
So I'm imagining he's not going to be super keen on Colin Kaepernick, but Shad Khan might be a little keen to at least work him out. Like, they had this chance once with Bortles, and they kept Bortles, and everybody criticized them as, how is Bortles better than Kaepernick, and blah, blah, blah. Like, they could work him out. If there were ever a time, I'm not saying he's going to get signed, because I just don't think it's going to happen. But if there were ever a time for him to get a workout, it's right now, and it's with Jacksonville.
And then there's the Eli Manning factor.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Where Tom Coughlin has the connection.
Awesome.
It gives Tom Coughlin the position of need, and it gives the Giants the opportunity to get off of Eli Manning without butchering him.
Daniel Jones was 3 for 4 tonight. Just saying. Like,
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
If Coughlin says a conditional second-round pick, if you're Dave Gettleman, you have to do that.
That's one where I think
you get immunity. You can wipe your ass, be like, no, I had to get the second-round pick. I had to do it.
I think even the Morrows would come down from wherever they are and be like, Bruddy, we finally found a way we can get rid of him without publicly murdering him. So let's do this.
Mara loves him. Like, Mara is so in debt to Eli, it's insane. To come out and say, Eli, I hope Daniel Jones doesn't play all year is wild.
You know who else Mara loves? Tom Coughlin.
It's true. It's true. He does love Tom Coughlin. He did fire Tom Coughlin, but he does love Tom Coughlin.
He fired Tom Coughlin so Tom Coughlin could become president of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's not the worst gig in the world.
It's a pipe dream, but it'd be awesome if it happened.
Lion's gonna lion. What did the Free Press say? Lions, lion. The Cardinals, Cardinals.
The sun will swallow the earth, and everything will continue on as normal.
Time will end.
The Lions will never win a Super Bowl in my children's lifetime.
It's
27 and single, so we got plenty of time, and they still will not win a Super Bowl in my children's lifetime.
Baltimore, Lamar Jackson,
phenomenal from Lamar
MVP
Jackson.
candidate.
I want to see it against a defense that actually wants to be on the field, but yeah, I mean, he looked unbelievable. He didn't even have to run. Like, that's what was amazing.
Anytime you put up 59 points in the NFL, I don't really care who you're playing.
It's just such a drastic turnaround the way they did it, because if you remember their playoff game against San Diego, against Los Angeles, like, they physically could not throw the ball.
That dime look fucked them up.
They legitimately could not throw it. Also, did you see Eric Weddle's head today?
Weird. Very weird injury.
How did that happen?
Very weird
how that happened, but yeah, it made me think Baltimore. But either way, like, they all they did was throw it. Lamar didn't run. Like, he had like 5 carries. It was wild, and he was just hitting everything he wanted. At 1.9 for 10 for a $196 and 3 touchdowns. Hollywood Brown out here looking like Steve Smith.
Mark Ingram had a 1-yard run, and then Hollywood Brown uncorked like a 68 and an 83.
Like, it was insane.
Sammy Watkins had a huge day. It was like all the guys you know, but underrated for 10 years.
Oh, Atlanta's terrible.
Yeah, they stink.
There was one other one. Tennessee.
Is Minnesota maybe good? Like actually,
the defense is always good at home, especially.
Tennessee looked
Dalvin
great.
Cook looked great,
Cleveland looked awful. Like
OBJ's wrist was real nice though.
Every stretch of awful
Could
imaginable.
You imagine playing football wearing a $250,000 watch?
I'm not Odell Beckham.
I mean, did he insure it? Like, did it have insurance when he took it out there?
He doesn't need it. No, they looked.
It's
absolutely
the least Cleveland thing of all time.
They looked horrible, like sloppy, unprepared. Baker looked like he was forcing everything. He looked awful.
You could tell Romo was trying to be nice.
Yeah,
like Romo was not going to let him have it. He was trying to be nice, and he should have let him have it.
It was some bad throws. The Lions broadcast. Who was it? The color guy.
Mark Schlereth and Dick Stockton.
Yeah, most honest broadcast I think I've ever heard.
Schlereth is great. He's great on the podcast. I've heard him on multiple podcasts. He's great. He's a funny guy. He is very brutally honest.
He was rolling Cliff Kingsbury.
He was rolling. Everybody could get it. Like, that's the thing with Mark Schlereth is everybody can get it.
That goal line drive for the Cardinals when they didn't score more than a field goal, he was killing.
He came back and said he was wrong, though. Like, later in the game, he was like, hey, they took that field goal. Me and everybody in the stadium was upset. I was wrong. They're here. Like, I was like, yeah, well, no, you weren't wrong. I just, he was suck. Like,
if the Lions don't call timeout, you were right.
You're not wrong. It's just like the Lions made you look like an idiot because that's what they do if you believe in them.
All right, let's transition to college football because there's a lot to cover there as well.
You want to briefly talk tennis for 10 seconds?
It was some electric tennis matches.
Rafa was unreal tonight.
That was talking tennis for 10 seconds.
Great. Awesome.
It was really unreal tennis matches, though. Medvedev, like, I don't want to just gloss over it and joke about it. It was incredible.
Medvedev pushing it to the fifth set tonight was outstanding. It was unbelievable.
Incredible stuff. Have you ever had one of those weekends where everything just goes really, really well for you? Like, everything goes...
There were a couple of misses.
Almost exactly the way you could imagine.
If Army's kicker had made that kick, and if the Lions had just not called timeout, this weekend would have been pretty fucking great.
Like, for me, Michigan...
I hate Texas, they lost.
Michigan showed their ass against Army, which is a beautiful thing for me. Texas lost to LSU, and I'm just so high on LSU and Joe Burrow. That's a great thing for me. I don't much care for Texas
only because they petitioned the Big 12 to get rid of horns down. It's like, dude, just take it.
Michigan State hung 50 points for the first time since the Battle of Bunker Hill.
That was a good one. Lost a lot of good men that day.
And then the Patriots sure did. And then the Patriots looked like the most incredible football team in the world. It was a great weekend for me. I want to start college football wise with Michigan State, because it kicks off the first topic in college football that I want to go over is like, what team are you out on? What team are you back in on? I am all in on Michigan State. I'm
not. I can't be all in. I cannot allow myself to do that. My soul will get crushed.
I am all in. I am ready to just get hammered. I'm ready for D'Antonio to do some half-ass broke shit offense against Ohio State, some dumb play that's going to cause us to lose a game by 4 points that we should have won. I'm ready to get clocked in the face with a lead pipe because I've put my entire spirit and stock and soul into being all in on this football team. But I'm telling you, with this defense and the fact that they just scored,
I'm always all in on.
The fact that they just scored 50 points for the first time since 2015, I'm all in.
I won't allow myself to be all in on Michigan State's offense. I can't do it.
Maybe had I not seen Michigan do what they did a few hours earlier, I wouldn't be. But after what I saw there, I'm all in.
I am very concerned that Michigan, not to change the subject real quick, but that Michigan is going to go into Madison and lose by 30.
No, I think they might get stomped.
It's
even off the bye week. I think they might get stomped.
Wisconsin's 120-0 in the first 2 weeks or some shit.
So is Maryland.
Maryland gave up some points late, but Wisconsin is legitimately in the first 2 games 80-0. No, excuse me. Whoa, way undersold that. 110-0.
Oh boy! And it is Central Michigan and who'd they play
Central
week
Florida.
1? South Florida, right?
South Florida, excuse me. South Florida on the road, 49-0 on the road, and 61-0 at home.
I want to
get a week off going into Michigan, just like Michigan has the week off.
Oh, they both have bye. Dude, I can't wait to see what the line comes out at. I think it's going to probably be something like Wisconsin laying 3.5 points. And I might take
they get 7.
I don't think they're getting a touchdown. You think they're getting a touchdown?
Yeah. At home?
I don't
think
know.
They might get a touchdown. I think it might start as a touchdown. It might come out as a touchdown and get down to 3, but
I think it might come out as like 1.5 or 2.5.
I don't know, man. Michigan looked really awful at home. Wisconsin rolled. Like 110-0 in the first 2 games. 61-49.
Yeah, but Vegas has to keep the fan base interested enough to bet.
That's fair, but you think a bunch of Michigan fans won't bet 7?
I mean, they'll get hyped up for it for sure. No, I do. I think Jonathan Taylor's incredible. I think Wisconsin's got a Heisman on their hands, and
their line is just it's Wisconsin.
Their defense is good.
Yeah, that mean 2 straight shutouts.
I definitely think Michigan's in trouble going into Madison next week. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Wisconsin's got a lock on the West,
and I don't want to just sound like I'm talking shit here, but I don't want to change the topic totally from Michigan State, but honestly, I think there's just more to say about Michigan because all of the questions I had about Michigan State: can the offense play up tempo? Can they throw the ball more? Can the offensive line generate push against a bad opponent? Can you just blow somebody out for once?
I did not see as much of Cam Hayward running the ball. I very much like that.
They did it all. So what do you want me to say? Everything I asked them to do, they did. What do you want me to say? I'm proud of them.
That's good.
And by the way,
week. You're supposed to do that against Western, right? That's what you want.
You want me to preview Arizona State for you? I'll do it.
I'm so scared.
You want me to preview Arizona State? I'll do it. Arizona State against Kent State and buttfuck University. They've played 2 nobodies.
The Fighting Buttfucks. Great team.
Absolutely. They've played 2 nobodies. They're averaging 3.08 yards per carry over 2 games. Michigan State over 2 games has allowed -6 rushing yards.
Okay. I mean,
that's my preview for Arizona State.
I didn't think they were going to run the ball, but like those games get me so scared. I hate these games. Like every time I just hate these games.
I'm going to be scared every single game that Michigan State plays. I'll be terrified.
Right.
But I'm all in on this team, man. I'm all in. I'm all in. I know it was Western, but the thing that people don't understand is I watched a team last year complete 19 of 52 passes against, or 48 whatever it was, against Rutgers and score 14 points in a home game where they couldn't move the ball against a team that only exists in this conference because the Big Ten Network wants to be on televisions in New York City.
Oh my God, Rutgers.
Scoring 50 points on UAB would have gotten me excited. Doing it on the MAC champion, I think it's okay to be a little happy.
That's true. That's fair. It's like you said, they answered every question. I don't have a whole lot of concerns going into next week. I'm scared because I'm been conditioned to be scared of Michigan State playing these type of teams early in the season. I don't think they'll put up 40 on Arizona State. I think it'll be a close game when it shouldn't be. I think eventually they'll pull in something, but I don't have those concerns the same way I normally do. The West, for the Big Ten also, if Wisconsin rules Michigan, Iowa look good against Rutgers, but it's Iowa. It's just kind of Wisconsin in the West.
I think, Nebraska shot their foot off. The Scott Frost experiment has to be coming to a close for Nebraska.
So Colorado, you rushed the field when you beat the 25th team in the country. They took the goalpost down. They were so scared.
And they've been to a Pac-12 championship game in the past 3 years. I don't get what that was about.
Did they go last year?
I don't know.
Was it last year or 2 years ago? Because it was that quarterback. It was the same guy, Montez.
I don't know if they went last year. I don't even remember the Pac-12 championship. The Pac-12 sucked last year. I was out
Speaking of the Pac-12, I need to make a formal apology to one Clay Helton. Because
and the University of USC in general.
The University of Southern California.
I didn't realize
Keaton
they were
Slovis,
hiding
all of them. My bad to Keaton Slovis, Clay Helton, and the University of Southern California. I apologize, Lynn Swan, everyone involved. My bad. I forgot that it's USC and they might have another quarterback on the shelf.
Dude, they were Keaton Slovis came out.
Dog.
You want to talk about a kid who looked good.
Slinging it.
Holy mother of mercy.
I thought Clay Helton wouldn't last till week 6. I don't think Graham Harrell's going to last till week 6 because somebody's going to pull him off that bench.
They were hiding Dan Marino in their fucking backup true freshman quarterback.
Well, that kid had some Aaron Rodgers in him. I know that's not a fair comp at all, but the way he throws it, it's whoa.
No, I was amazed, and because
spins it too.
I thought Stanford plus 3.5, plus 135 was free money.
No doubt.
I thought it was free money. And then USC comes out, Graham Harrell designing some of the most creative and effective pass plays that I've seen. And this kid, Keaton, just delivering the ball. At one point, he had one incompletion.
Yeah. And it's noteworthy enough to say that KJ Costello didn't play and Stanford had to start a true freshman on the road. So, like, I'll give them a pass for losing that game, but I don't give them a pass for not being able to stop the freshman quarterback. The freshman quarterback was unbelievable.
They gave up 45 points.
I'll give their offense a pass, I should say, for Stanford, because, again, starting a true freshman on the road in a rivalry game, that's tough. But, like, you got to be able to stop a true freshman. And, like, Graham Harrell just made him literally look like Aaron Rodgers for a point.
So going back to who are you out on and who are you back in on?
Oh, I'm without a doubt back in on USC.
I'm back in on USC.
Yeah, like, if they can beat Utah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
we're going to learn something about USC next week. And if they beat Utah, they might be the team that can bring the Pac-12 to glory. And I don't want to say to glory like they can win the national title, but they can make the Pac-12 championship game relevant again, which could be incredible.
And especially with Cal beating Washington,
yeah.
I'm fully out on Washington now.
Absolutely, I'm out on Texas.
Oh,
well, no, they shouldn't say that. I actually think
just
Texas,
because the Big 12 is
and I think Texas actually was impressive in that game. They played really well, all things considered, but. Man, if there's a team that I'm all in on to win a national championship, it might be LSU. I think there's an argument that they are the number one team in the country right now.
Watching that game, all I could think is this team can beat Bama. Like, this team could definitely beat Bama. They got to go on the road, but they could beat Bama.
But they have a quarterback. They have an up-tempo offense. They have the best secondary in America. They have,
I think, sadly enough, behind Michigan, the second best wide receiver group in the country.
Which Michigan's going to waste that wide receiver.
Oh, yeah, they are. They got to find somebody to throw it to them.
Oh, boy. We'll get back to Michigan. Speaking of teams I'm out on, Michigan I'm out on for this year. Unless Dylan McCaffrey takes that job over in Wisconsin and shoves it down their throat, I'm out on Michigan.
For 2.5 quarters, I was out on Penn State. They're going to lose to Buffalo at home.
I think I'm out. I'm in on Michigan State. I might be all in on Michigan State to win the conference. I think I'm out on the Big Ten getting to the playoff.
I can't be in on Michigan State to win the conference because Ohio State looked like that Cincinnati team against UCLA. I was like, wow, good for Luke Fickell.
Yeah, but UCLA sucks.
I know. Like, I found that out.
UCLA was really bad.
Found that out now. But, like, watching that game, I was like, man, Cincinnati, they can move it. Good for Luke Fickell. Look, I mean, they got stomped. Like, they came into the horseshoe and got absolutely stopped.
And that's going to be the thing for Michigan State is they're going to have to go to the horseshoe. Yeah. They're going to have to go to Ann Arbor.
It's going to be a good game in the horseshoe, though.
I do think. And defense travels. And I've always believed that. And I don't think there's a better one in the country than Michigan State. And I'm at a point now where I think if they can get...
Wisconsin one's pretty good, too.
Oh, yeah. I think if Michigan State could get their offense to top 70, top 60 in the country, they have a shot to go to the playoff.
Are you back in on Oregon at all? Not that you were fully out on Oregon, but I mean they hung 77 on a team that beat Purdue.
It would be tough not to be back in on Oregon after they won 77-6 over Nevada.
That's pretty damn good. I think I might be in on Florida a little bit more, even though it's Tennessee Martin. Like, they look decent on offense.
Florida's one of the few teams I haven't watched yet.
I only saw highlights,
but after what I saw, I have watched because I forgot they were week 0. After what I saw to them against Miami, I think Felipe Franks stinks.
Without a doubt.
So as long as that's what's going on there, I'm out. But Oregon, I think they're going to bank on the idea that Auburn is going to be good. Mm-hmm. And if Auburn is good, Oregon does have a chance if they win out, especially if USC ends up being good.
USC's got what? They go to BYU, and then they play Utah and Notre Dame, right? Or is there somebody in between there? Yeah, Washington. BYU, Utah, Washington, and Notre Dame. Now Washington seems a lot less tough.
Can you imagine if they get out of that unscathed? I'll be all in on USC.
I'll tell you what, they get out of that unscathed. They beat BYU, Utah, and Washington after beating Stanford. They go 4 weeks of that. They're going into Notre Dame. That's a top 10 matchup. I bet USC's in the top 10.
Yeah, they'll rise fast.
That'll be a top 10 matchup.
They're a brand.
Because Utah's 11, Washington's ranked, even though they just lost to Cal. They just beat a ranked team in Stanford. Like, they'll easily be up there. Yeah. Especially, they'll just put them up there somewhere just for that game.
Did they make the rankings this week?
They will now, I bet.
Well, their rankings are out.
I didn't look at the AP ones.
Michigan dropped 3 spots.
Yeah, I'm guessing they did because, I mean, you got to think, like, Washington losing, they'll fall. Stanford losing, they lost to them, they'll fall. Like, Didn't somebody else lose?
I scrolled to see where Michigan and Michigan State ended up, but I didn't look.
Yeah, Nebraska lost. They'll
USC,
fall.
USC's 24th.
Yeah, that's normal for them. If they beat Utah, top 10 team, and they beat BYU on the road, how about Tennessee?
Michigan State moved back up to 18. Wisconsin up to 14. Michigan down 3 spots to 10. Ohio State down 1 to 6 because LSU.
Yeah, that's not Ohio State's fault.
LSU had to move up into the top 4.
For sure they did.
Yeah, so Michigan dropped 3 spots.
I'm surprised that USC is only at 24. Like with the Cuse,
they'll rise so fast.
Cuse losing. Who else?
They'll rise
Nebraska
real
lost.
quick.
Washington lost. Penn State didn't look good. I'm surprised they're only at 24. That's interesting.
That they're in.
Yeah,
which is more than anyone thought they would be when they lost their quarterback.
And this kid looks way better than JT Daniels.
Boy, he looks good, dude. Yeah. He looks so good. Yeah. All right, so to get back to the local teams, that I think we're both kind of out on right now in Michigan.
I need to see something from that defense. Like, I understand that it's the triple option, but if you know they're going to run it every play, you got to be able to stop the run.
Well, and I got to say, the first half, when Don Brown had 3 down linemen and was leaving an open gap for the fullback to at least
they were just pointing it out.
At least put your blitzing linebacker, like on the broadcast, they were drawing a line to the hole. At least put your blitzing linebacker on the line of scrimmage.
If Joe
at least
Klatt's got your defense figured out, you're screwed.
Do something to clog the gap instead of just letting the fullback blow through the hole. I think everybody on Michigan's coaching staff deserves blame. The offensive line looked terrible. Ed Warner has to be held responsible for that. The play calling was abysmal, and that's on Josh Gaddis.
This is my thing with Josh Gaddis. My buddy who played football in Michigan was asked, like, what is it? And I'm like, do you think Gaddis is the guy? He's never called plays before. It hasn't exactly been crisp for 2 weeks.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to harp on Harbaugh for something I never thought I would harp on him for. One, the penalties were unacceptable, and he has to officially be on the hot seat right now.
He's not, though.
No, he won't, and he won't because the athletic director, Ward Manuel, there's a coward, but he should be. And when I then have to harp on him because you cannot allow Josh Gaddis to be calling goal line shotgun runs when you're on the 3-yard line or the entire red zone, just shotgun handoff after shotgun handoff, when you've spent 4 years running a stack eye pro-style offense that has been super effective when you get into these situations. Just turn it back to that once you're inside the 20. Because spreading the offense out doesn't work when you're on the goal line, and linebackers have the back of the end zone to play an extra defender. It doesn't work.
I want to ask a question, too. If this is supposed to be this new open it up offense that we were supposed to see, right? That was what they hyped all summer. How are you going to give a freshman 33 carries in the second game of the year? Like, throw the ball. Unless you got a quarterback that can't throw it, which you clearly do.
Shea looked horrible at the end of that game. Just awful. The last throw, the first throw he missed where Joel Klatt just...
Yeah, see, he blamed it on the wind. It's 25 yards. Put it on him.
Dude, Shea was missing high on everything. He was overthrowing stuff. His completion percentage looks fine. His rating looks fine. Yeah, there will be fans that'll come out and say, it was the triple option and they dominated time of possession. Newsflash, they didn't dominate time of possession. They had you by 2.5 minutes. Yeah. And it's... The people come out and... They'll make excuses in some way, shape, or form, but I think there is no excuse left to be made when you make that throw at the end of the game on a wide open comeback route and you miss by like 5 yards to the point that your receiver doesn't even try to go get it.
Close. Like he did. There were so many things with the offense that I'm just like, okay, you had 2 weeks, you've seen it. If it's what you want it to be, oh my God. If it's not what you want it to be, now's your bye week. You're going into Madison. Make the change now. Do it now. Don't wait.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't split the rep. Say, nope, you got a whole week of first-team reps, Dylan, and then you get a whole nother week of first-team reps after it. You're the guy. We're going with you. Shea, take a seat.
It does almost remind me a little bit of Michigan State in 2013 because they brought Connor Cook into the game and then brought Connor Cook out of the game and put Andrew Maxwell back in, similar to what Michigan did with Shea, where they were like, listen, we're putting Dylan in for these 2 plays where we just hand the ball off.
It's got to feel like absolute dog shit to be Shea Patterson, run off the field on 3rd and 1, and hear that entire stadium go nuts for Dylan McCaffrey to come on the field. and then 10 seconds later they put you back out there and they all boo. Like, what a feeling that's got to be like, God, these people hate me right now, and I still got to go win a football game.
Yeah, I mean, if that's this, and the other thing, the thing that really drove home, one, the point we made last week about where the feeling around this program changed after 62 points.
For sure.
It now, like the national media, for the first time, I was scrolling my timeline and I saw national media members going, this program is a disaster. For the first time under Harbaugh, I saw that. For the first time under Harbaugh, my friends who are Michigan fans, who I'm texting during the game, are agreeing with me in the things I'm pointing out as being terrible instead of saying I'm harping. They were like, dude, I'm done with this shit. One of my friends who will defend Don Brown till his dying breath texted me and said, I am out on Don Brown today.
It's for me, it's the offense too. Like, you couldn't put up more than 14 on Army. You handed the ball to a freshman 33 times. Why does anybody think Josh Gaddis knows how to call plays?
They ran the ball, 44 times, and they had 2.8 yards per carry? Is that right?
More than 44. They ran it 33, 1, 4. Don't make me do math. 46 times.
46 times, and they got, I think, 2.3 or 2.8 yards per carry, something in that range.
Yeah. Well, Shea had 8 carries for negative 18 yards. Didn't help him.
Against Army, that is unacceptable.
Totally. Without question.
That's inexcusable. And from a play calling perspective, if this is what Harbaugh being completely hands off looks like, he needs to be slightly hands on.
But does he? Like, is that the answer? Because we've seen him call offense. It doesn't look great. Like, it's kind of prehistoric. That's why I'm saying, like,
but the prehistoric stuff
get a
can
Graham
work.
Arrow and you end up with Josh Gaddis.
The prehistoric stuff can work when you need a battering ram to punch it in at the goal line.
Sure, at the goal line, but it's not going to get, like, they wouldn't have beaten Army running the stuff Harbaugh was doing.
Oh, no.
Like,
but
it'd have been the same thing.
I think you can use a little bit of both.
Yeah, without a doubt. You can't hand it to a freshman 33 times in your second game when you spent all summer telling us how it's going to look different.
And to be fair, I think Charbonnet's really good.
Sure, I mean, he's a plow horse. He carried it 33 times. He's 18 years old.
It was very, very clearly not working when you would just hand it off for between the tackles, shotgun run.
Literally averaged 3 yards a carry.
If Shea can't throw the ball, don't play him at quarterback. Because I don't understand. You're not throwing the ball. Can he not throw? Because that's what it looks like to me. You have a quarterback
I think
who
Milton
can't throw.
is better than him. Like, go to Milton. Go to anybody. Brandon Peters is looking great for Illinois right now.
The ball control, the sloppiness. It's 2 games in a row. Michigan State went out week 1, right? And they looked bad.
They look like Michigan State week 1. Like, that's what they do.
They came out week 2 after D'Antonio spent a week going, we need to change this, this, and this. And they did everything he said in the presser, changed everything he talked about, and they looked incredible.
Really unfortunate consequences. They might wear those uniforms again.
Oh, God. Then you have Michigan, where it's like, week 1, there were these concerns, these things that were brought up. There were the pressers where Harbaugh was like visibly kind of angry, and he wasn't deflecting as much as he normally does.
Right.
But then they came out week 2, and they looked exactly the same, and actually considerably worse. Mm-hmm. Like, to the point that they looked really bad.
The whole mantra for Michigan going into this year from the national standpoint was, if not now, when, right?
Sure doesn't feel like now.
So, like, but you need to take that and centralize it on week 3. Be like, if not now, when? If we're not going to make the change right now, are we going to, or is Shea Patterson our quarterback for the next 10 games?
It's also just, if we're not going to step up and be the program that the national media projects us to be, that we project ourselves to be against Wisconsin. I think there is an identity crisis that's going to come up in Ann Arbor where they're going to start wondering, really, what is this program? What does it mean for Michigan to be back? Is this just who we are? And I'm at a point where it's like, maybe it is.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Illinois has been to a Rose Bowl sooner than Michigan has, right? Like, what was Illinois, like 04, 05, or 06 or something like that?
I don't know.
It was the one right after Henny.
Michigan was 06. Was Illinois?
The 07 Rose Bowl, because it was New Year's Day, right? I think Illinois went after that.
I gotta look it up.
Juice Williams and Isaiah Washington, or whatever his name was.
That sounds incredible. I mean, I know Northwestern's been to a conference title game. Mm-hmm. Michigan hasn't.
Penn State's been to a Rose Bowl. Nebraska's been in a conference title game. Wisconsin's been in multiple. Ohio State's been in multiple. Michigan State's been in multiple.
The 2008 Rose Bowl was Illinois and USC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Williams.
Michigan State's won the Rose Bowl. They've won the conference 3 times. Wisconsin's won the conference 3 times. Ohio State's won the conference 4 times. Penn State's gone to a Rose Bowl. Ohio State's won a national championship. Michigan State's gone to the playoff. Michigan State's won a Cotton Bowl. Wisconsin's won, like, the list goes on and on and on and on of things that other teams have accomplished. If you want me to bring up coaches, how quickly they won their conference, Dabo Swinney won the ACC in 3 years. Urban Meyer won the Big Ten in 2 years. James Franklin won the Big Ten.
He could have.
Right. James Franklin won the Big Ten in 3 years. D'Antonio won the Big Ten in 4 years. You want Jimbo Fisher in the SEC, 2 years.
Nebraska made a final with Bo Pelini in, the third year?
Yeah. Saban at Alabama, 2 years. Like, every elite coach in America.
Urban 2 years in the SEC and 2 years in the Big Ten, right? And he went in his second year with Florida. Won a national championship in, like, his second year with Florida.
Every truly elite coach in America, and I have to look up Kirk Ferentz. How long was he at Iowa before they went?
God, he's been at Iowa for 20 decades.
So,
who the hell knows?
Sure.
They didn't have a Big Ten championship game in time for him to have won it in those amount of years.
But when you look at the elite coaches who have won their conference recently, the elite coaches, and if you want to throw D'Antonio in, it makes it 4 years. Nobody needed more than 3. Most of them got it done in 2. And it's like Harbaugh's now in year 5, and you're borderline losing to Army at home.
Yeah.
And I don't want to stress this too much because Oklahoma went to overtime with Army last year too, but Oklahoma had a hell of a lot better offense, and they had a Heisman quarterback.
Mm-hmm. And the argument I get from Michigan people when I would ever bring that up is, well, Harbaugh did that at Stanford. He's elite too. He's fights like, yo.
Harbaugh didn't win anything at Stanford.
And what have you done for me lately? Like, yeah, he won the Pac-12 at Stanford. Like, great. Who cares? Back when it was the Pac-10.
He never won a Rose Bowl.
Right. They'd lost. They lost to Oklahoma State in a bowl game too, didn't they?
Yes. Like he couldn't win bowl games. He had Andrew fucking Luck, and he couldn't.
That's why he got the San Francisco job, because he made him. Like, they were like, oh, he's a quarterback whisperer. He's Jim Harbaugh. Like, they didn't give him the San Francisco job because he did all this winning at Stanford. Yes, he won much more than anyone was winning at Stanford for a very long time. He turned them around. I think they had like an 0-12 or a 1-11 season before he got there. But at the same time, he got the job because it was like, oh, you made Andrew Luck. That's why he got the job. Same reason Kingsbury got this job. It's like, oh, you made Baker Mayfield. Oh, you made this guy. You made Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes is the reason that Cliff Kingsbury got that job.
I think it's partly Baker Mayfield, too.
Could be, but I think if Patrick Mahomes doesn't do what Patrick Mahomes does, then...
Whoa. Breaking news. Red Sox fire Dave Dombrowski.
Whoa, what? Are you kidding me?
Red Sox fired Dave Dombrowski 1 season after title.
Holy shit.
Team plans to elevate assistant general manager Eddie Romero to lead its baseball operations department, per Jeff Passan, however you say his name.
Oh, wow. Okay, we'll talk about that next week.
We're going to have to talk baseball soon. It's going to be fun.
Goodness gracious. Do you want to know what the biggest game Jim Harbaugh won outside of an NFC championship is?
The one where he shook Jim Schwartz's hand really hard.
It would be an FCS playoff game when he was the head coach of the San Diego Toreros.
Shouts out to Chris Bryant.
That would be the biggest game that Jim Harbaugh won outside of an NFC championship game.
The University of San Diego is Chris Bryant. Yeah, I mean, you could argue there were some other big games
if you want to count the big regular season games
like
at
the
Michigan.
Double OT against USC with Andrew Luck and Matt Barkley going at it. That was a fun one.
You want to count the big...
Another bad handshake after that one, too.
You want to count the Wisconsin 14-7. You want to count the rivalry wins over Michigan State when that's the only rival you can beat in years when, they can't beat Rutgers, or they have a bottom 4 offense in America, and... Yeah, you should beat that team. Like,
I hope you beat that team.
If we don't need you to brag about that one.
I hope you beat that team.
And it's not that I want to sit here...
Northwestern beat that team. I hope you beat that team.
It's not that I want to sit here and shit on my own school like that either. It's just like, I can admit that we were really, really bad.
Oh, that's the key difference between Michigan State fans and Michigan fans. Is like, when we suck, we just get miserable. When Michigan fans suck, they get in denial. We do not deny it. We're like, God, I fucking hate Dave Warner. They're just like, we just need to get better. Something's wrong. Like, no, dude, you guys just kind of suck. Like, sometimes you just got to take it when you suck. Like, when we're 3-9 and we can't move the ball, every Michigan State fan is not, like, in denial. They're just suicidal.
Somebody came over to my house that year, 3-9, when we were 3-8, and we went to Penn State, final game of the year. Yeah. And somebody came over to my house and they go, "Turn on the Michigan State game. It's the last game of the year." And I was sitting there and I go, I'm not putting this on the TV. I don't have any interest in watching this. We are absolute garbage. I don't want to watch us get blown out by Penn State. We ended up losing that game like 42-10. Yeah. I'm like, why would I want to put that on the television? Never. Why would I want to put that on? And that was the same thing that happened in the bowl game this year when I'm sitting on vacation and they go, "Can we watch Michigan State in the bowl game?" And I'm like, I really don't have any interest.
For what?
Because I know what I'm going to see. I'm going to see an inept offense go down the field, and they scored, 3 points in a loss?
I think so.
So, yeah, I don't need to watch that shit. Yeah. I don't need to watch that garbage. I don't have any interest in it. Yeah. Then the same thing goes if I were a Michigan fan, and this is how I frame everything. So when people go, "You're just Sparty talking bad about Michigan." No, I'm sitting from a perspective of if I were a Michigan fan, I would hold them to the same expectations and accountability that I hold my own school to. So when I look at a 27-24 win over Army in double overtime, where your players are jumping into the stands, screaming, celebrating, and one of your most recognizable alumni in Dave Portnoy is all caps tweeting with 50 exclamation points, celebrating your win in double overtime over Army by a field goal. Yeah, I think your program's in shambles.
It's tough. It's a tough look all around. Like,
you have a $9 million head coach who can't beat Army, who can't get to Indianapolis, who can't get out of his own way against rivals, can't beat Notre Dame, can't beat Ohio State, struggles against Michigan State anytime they're at any level of respectability. So, yeah, I think it's a problem.
I mean, if they do, go in and get rolled in Madison, I mean, I guess you get one coming out against Rutgers. That's a free one to get back on track. But then you got Iowa. On the road against Illinois is not nothing. Illinois is Illinois. Let's say they're Illinois, but they don't. They've got a quarterback in Brandon Peters that you've started, so he's decent. They've got a head coach in Lovie Smith who's been to a Super Bowl. He knows how to call plays in high-pressure situations, high-pressure games. They've looked okay against bad teams, but they've looked okay. That's not a free one. Then you got Penn State and Notre Dame and Maryland all in a row after that. Are you going into Michigan State with 2 or 3 losses? I didn't even say Iowa. Iowa right after Rutgers.
Maryland's not a point where that's a bye week anymore either. Maryland's a scary team.
Especially with the defense you got. You're Michigan, you're not stopping Army effectively enough. You think you're going to slow down Maryland?
You remember me saying that I don't think any team is going to come and score 24 points plus on Michigan State? Maryland might drop 30. Maryland
could.
And
I think Ohio State could.
I might be sure, yeah. And I might be drinking a little bit too much of the Maryland Kool-Aid, but I watched that Syracuse game. I watched every play. I watched every snap.
I bet the over in that game, and I didn't even have to watch the second half.
The offensive line seals blocks really well. They pass pro really well. They run block really well. They just execute their offense really, really well.
Yeah, they do.
And they hit open receivers. They have a quarterback who makes the right decisions. They get open.
They have become Oregon East.
They look
Under Armour
really...
sunk a bunch of money in the same way Nike did with Oregon and give them all the cool uniforms and let them be this unbelievable offense. And the DMV, I know Mel Kiper's been preaching this for years, it is loaded with high school football talent. And they can get kids.
It was some people, I saw, maybe Syracuse just sucks. Maybe Syracuse... I'm like, dude, anytime you score 121 points in 2 games, I don't care who you played. I don't care who you play.
That offense is legit.
This is what teams are supposed to do. When Alabama's a 55-point spread, they're supposed to go and score 60 points. So, yeah, they might be playing a bad team, but if you score 60 points back-to-back against bad teams, you're a good team. That's
usually how that works.
That's how it goes.
Also, A&M's quarterback, garbage.
Yeah, that guy stinks.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through scores now. He was terrible.
I think I'm out on A&M.
I'm not sure I was ever in, but... Yeah, I guess.
I mean, Jimbo
SEC
Fisher.
West, they're not going to compete with the LSUs of the world.
No, chance. Certainly not. Georgia still looks good, but
Georgia rolled. Yeah.
Bama looks good.
Auburn, they had a better win against Oregon than they did against Tulane.
Yeah, letdown though. But it was a big last minute thing. It was They were set up for a letdown there, or a little bit of oversight anyway.
You want to talk Jalen Hurts? Holy cow!
If you want to win the Heisman, be the quarterback at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, did you see what their other 2 quarterbacks did in that game? Tanner Mordecai came in, went 6 of 8 for a $114 and 2 touchdowns. Then they brought Rattler in, and he went 4 for 4 for 50 yards and a touchdown.
You want to win the Heisman? Go. Lincoln Riley should have been the one to get Cliff Kingsbury's job.
Yeah, but he didn't want it. I'm sure they offered it to him.
That's who that job should go to. Everybody wants to go find the next McVay. Hey, found him. He's head coach at Oklahoma.
Jerry Jones is going to pay him $12 million a year to coach his team.
I think that guy's incredible. I think Jalen Hurts.
What do you think Jones throws it in? Like, it's going to be north of 10. He's got it. Like, you're not getting him out of Norman for anything less than 10 a year. Because of what he gets from boosters under the table's got to be insane.
It's got to be 10 a year, and it's got to be an objectively better job. So it's got to either be NFL or like USC.
I don't think he'd leave Norman for USC. I really don't. I think he's staying in. I don't think he leaves for any other college job.
What's a better job than Oklahoma?
Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, but
you want to make quarterbacks too.
But I don't think
that's a real good one. I don't think
he'd leave Norman. For like the thing is everybody's like, oh, Jerry Jones is gonna he's gonna look at that roster and be like, why would I want to coach Dak Prescott and Ezekiel? Like I want a quarterback.
I don't know. You see Dak Prescott today?
Yeah, I know. Dak Prescott looked great, but like the offense is built around Zeke. We'll see it as the year goes on, even though it shouldn't be after today. Granted, they're playing the Giants, so let's
fair.
But at the same time, if you're Lincoln Riley and you're looking at that, you might just say, I'm going to wait for a job with a quarterback that I like. Or I'm going to wait for a job that I can draft a quarterback I like. Because those jobs are going to be there if he keeps this up.
I think he's just... Jalen Hurts is amazing, and Lincoln Riley, I think...
They're playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers, they're playing chess.
He can do no wrong. Yeah. I'm always going to be in on Oklahoma just as long as Lincoln Riley's there.
The Big 12 is Oklahoma's to lose without question. Even after with Texas. Texas at least showed they're not going to quit.
The struggle with the Big 12 for me in Oklahoma is going to be they have to beat Texas twice. And it's always very difficult because they play them close to the end of the year.
They didn't have to beat them twice last year. They only had to beat them once, and they got in. They did lose once. Like, if you lose the Red River, you can still win the championship.
That's true. And the championship win is more important.
Without a doubt. Even if it doesn't feel like it. But... I mean, I don't know if they're going to lose in the Big 12. I think they might roll Texas.
Over under 3 conferences in the college football playoff.
Man, that's so tough. Just because it's like after week 2, I'm picking 3 SEC schools if it starts tomorrow.
I mean,
and it's so if it starts tomorrow, it's so not fair because Oklahoma's out.
If LSU beats Bama in Tuscaloosa, and then Bama wins out. LSU wins the title over Georgia in a close game. All 3 schools.
Somebody else beats them, though. That's always how it goes, right? Like, they'll slip up to Auburn, or they'll slip up to Florida, or they'll slip up to somebody, and then there's a 3-way tie, and somehow Bama gets in, or somebody gets in, and they say, well, they deserve to be in. So and then the team that loses the SEC championship game gets screwed.
Like, the Big Ten cannibalizes itself again.
It is going to be better to be the second best team in the SEC West than it is to be the best team in the SEC East, unless the East wins the championship, which I don't think they will. It is better to be LSU and have 1 loss to Bama than it is to be Georgia and have 1 loss to somebody else and then lose to Bama.
It honestly, too, it might be better. Because that was what happened when Ohio State went and Penn State didn't, right?
Right.
It was better to be second place Ohio State than it was to be conference champion Penn State.
Look at Michigan State in the Big Ten championship game against Wisconsin with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
They lost that game. They didn't go to the Sugar Bowl. Michigan did.
I would argue, too, it's going to be better to be the second place team in the SEC West than it will be to be Big Ten champion.
Not unless it's Ohio State.
Undefeated Ohio State.
They can lose to Penn State or Michigan State and still make it.
If they could still make it, but do you think, think of it this way. If LSU...
They can't lose 2 weeks in a row. They can't lose to Michigan and the Big Ten championship.
If LSU loses at Bama, Bama goes undefeated, and LSU's number 2 in the West, and Ohio State is a 1-loss Big Ten champion. LSU's 1 loss is at Bama. Ohio State's a 1-loss Big Ten champion.
Bama doesn't lose?
Yeah. Okay. LSU would get seeded higher, right? LSU would be 3 and Ohio State be 4.
Wouldn't be fair, but yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be. It would be the college football playoff.
But that's the thing. LSU would be 3, but would that? Where's Georgia?
Do we need a 6-team playoff, right?
We need minimum 6. I would say we need 8. 8 makes it interesting. What I would really
My
love
thing with
to
8
do,
is I don't think there's ever 8 good teams.
What I'd really love to do, eliminate non-conference play. Just be done with non-conference play. Do the conference play 4 weeks earlier, and then have playoffs with 5 guaranteed spots and 7 at-large teams or 9 at-large teams, whoever.
I like non-conference play because
it's fun. Like, you get Notre Dame against Michigan, you get those games. But
but the other thing it does is you can kind of schedule a playoff game in September, like Oregon just did with Auburn. They scheduled a playoff game, right? But that's the point. That's why it's important to win your games,
right? For sure.
And so I kind of like the non-conference.
That's what does suck, watching a game in week 2 and knowing like they lost this game and now that literally they might not be able to win because they lost in week 2.
That's my thing with like making it 8, and I know it's such a stupid argument, but I never think there's 8 good teams. Or 8 teams good enough to win it all.
That's fair. That's
2,
definitely fair.
If you have an 8-team playoff and you have a situation like we had a couple years ago where Ohio State was 2 and Michigan was 4.
Yes.
And they play each other. Mm-hmm. Michigan can lose that game and know they're going to the playoff.
Yeah.
I don't like stealing the meaning from regular season games to add playoff games for teams that can't win it anyways.
It also helps a team like, Washington's the only Pac-12 team that's made it in the playoffs so far, right? Like, it also helps a Pac-12 one-loss team that can't get in because they're in the Pac-12 and no one watches them.
I can see an argument for 6 because I think then it makes the conference title games playoff games.
It also,
which kind of it already has happened, is that your rivalry games and your conference titles are playoff games.
It just almost feels like you add more teams so the SEC can get more teams in. Like, that's what it'll end up being. And not.
But I don't know that it will, because I think the SEC is bad outside of the teams that are good.
Right, but those teams will all get in now. Like LSU, Georgia, Florida.
I don't know about Florida, but Georgia, LSU, and Alabama are all in.
Florida's the biggest threat to Georgia in the East
maybe
right
Auburn,
now.
maybe Florida.
Right? Like, but if Florida can beat Georgia, they're gonna play in the championship game. They just gotta win this one game. And then they gotta beat the rest of the team. Who else do they have?
Well, the rest of the schedule's easy.
Yeah. So either way, like, whether we think Florida's good or not, they gotta win one game. Like, you beat Georgia, you got a chance.
And especially if Georgia keeps getting the respect that it's garnered. But yeah, I mean, the SEC East, I think, is as bad as the Big Ten West.
It also helps if you got more teams. Like, the ACC, not this year because, oh, dear God, we didn't talk about Florida State. Florida State could be 0-2 with home losses to Louisiana Monroe and Boise State if Louisiana Monroe didn't miss a game-tying field goal with no time left.
Not good.
Like, you're looking at losing at home to Louisiana Monroe a week after you lose it. Like, Willie Taggart's going to last one more week. If they don't blow whoever they got out next, that's it for Willie Taggart. Which means it was great. We'll get Harlan Barnett right back. Come on back.
Terrific.
Come on back.
I hope so. I don't need this.
One of my favorite Country Club of Lansing members of all time, Harlan Barnett.
Yeah, I think I'm just, those are the teams I'm in on, is LSU, USC, Michigan State, Ohio State. Mm-hmm. I'm out on Michigan. I'm out on Texas A&M. I'm out on.
I'm gonna be in on Washington State. I'm gonna be in on Mike Leach.
Again, man.
I'm gonna be in on Mike Leach for like a little while. If I'm telling you, the Pac-12 North, after Stanford goes down and Washington goes down in the same week, somebody's got to come out of the Pac-12 North. It's probably going to be Oregon, but it could be Washington State. I love being in on the team that nobody's talking about that is like, it's the same thing with Florida. It's like they're the threat to Oregon, right? The same thing as Florida is the threat to Georgia in a division that nobody thinks there's another threat in. So like Washington State can score. Washington State can score points. So if they score points with Oregon and it's a 71-68 game, they got a chance. Mike Leach can call offense. It'll be fun to watch.
Pac-12 turning into the Big 12.
I'm in on it. I love Mike Leach's offense. I'm in.
I think I need USC to win that conference.
It'd be great.
I'm at a point
really
where
great to have USC back to like being decent with a true freshman quarterback who's going to be there 2 more years.
I'd almost be upset because Clay Helton, I want him to get fired.
Yeah, I need him gone.
So Urban Meyer can take the job, but it would be fun to have USC back.
There's going to be some other jobs. Like Florida State's going to be open. There's already some jobs out there that you're looking at now.
But I don't think Florida State's a good enough job for him to come out of
not for Urban
before.
Meyer, but like for like a Les Miles. Though they didn't do too well again. Didn't they lose to Coastal Carolina or something like that?
Yeah, but what it's his first year, and what the hell type of kids he's got? Where's he at? Kansas?
They scored 7 points against Coastal Carolina. That's pretty bad.
known football school with a blue field. The Kansas Jayhawks, known football team.
They still have a tracker on the field.
Yeah, they have a track around a blue field.
Todd Reesing and Akeem
And it looks like the last thing we'll talk about here is how embarrassing is it for Texas to be playing their games
with the construction zone in the back?
And it looks like a D2 high school stadium. It's awful.
The high school stadiums in Texas are nicer. They should have played one of those.
Seriously. They might hold the same amount of people anyways.
Playing Odessa.
Honestly. Friday Night Lights, do it.
Let's do it.
That would be electric. LSU, Texas, Friday Night Lights at a high school field.
It was an electric game. That was a hell of an atmosphere that they hadn't had at Texas in a while.
It was also a really good game. Yeah.
From the beginning.
As a gambler, I had multiple heart attacks. As a football fan, I thought it was fantastic.
Just balling out. Both sides were balling out. There was no quit in Texas. There were plenty of points for them to quit. They didn't quit. I'll give them that. I won't give them a whole lot else. I won't give any Big 12 team a defense ever. That's why I'm only pumping the brakes slightly on LSU. I loved what I saw, but it was a Big 12 defense. So
yeah, I think Texas.
Those corners didn't have a chance against the LSU receivers.
Defense blows.
Yeah, it was bad.
But man, Joe Burrow had himself a week 2 Heisman moment.
They gave him a clean pocket too. LSU's line was good. Even they bring those fullbacks in and they pick up blitzes better than any fullbacks in the country at LSU.
He stood in there and got popped, and he delivered that throw. It was a strike.
That last play where he broke the pocket and came up left and threw to Jefferson and scored, that was unbelievable. Phenomenal play.
Yeah, that was a Heisman moment for sure. Mm-hmm. I think I'm in on LSU.
Who's got your week 2 Heisman, Hurts or Burrow?
Burrow.
It's close, man. Just because of the big game for sure.
Yeah, because he's got the moment.
Yeah, the number is
Hurts has the numbers, but Burrow's got the moment.
Backup quarterbacks in Oklahoma came in and were
Lincoln
straight
Riley.
Up 10 for 12 with 3 touchdowns. The backups.
I tell you what, is Michigan a better job than Oklahoma objectively?
They're both Jordan schools. They're both a ton of money in both of them.
It's a bigger,
as of right now,
it's a bigger fan base. It's probably a higher revenue stream.
Oh, it is.
The recruiting base is very likely the same level. You might have to stretch your pipelines a little bit more to get kids to come to Michigan, to get the kids to come to Norman. I'm not even sure you do.
I think at this point, Michigan can pull from a wider area.
With the satellite camps, for sure.
I don't think you're going to get kids from California to go to Norman that much. I think you can get kids from California to come to Ann Arbor.
You can always grab East Coast.
Yep. It's
got to be an objectively better job, right? So how about that? Michigan fans, tweet at me, at Norling Shea, because I got your coach right here. Everybody said, I'm so afraid. I don't want to give up on Harbaugh. What if we could get you Lincoln Riley? Would you give up on Harbaugh?
That's my thing is I just don't think Lincoln Riley would leave for any other college job at this point. They're going to keep him there forever. Pay him, give him a statue.
I doubt he would.
There forever. Bob Stoops always got talked about as leaving for other jobs. And he never did.
If there were jobs you could tempt him with, USC, Michigan, Auburn, Alabama. And Alabama's not going to come available, but you know what I'm saying. USC, Michigan, Texas. Auburn. Yeah, Texas, sure.
Leave Oklahoma for Texas?
Oh, boy. He would. I don't think
he could do it.
He might get murdered. That's why he couldn't do it.
I don't think he could do it. But if Brian Kelly left Notre Dame for if one NFL team was just screw it, let's hire Brian Kelly. I really wonder who Notre Dame would go after.
Or if Notre Dame circles the drain this year and they're just listen.
I don't think they will. I think they're strong.
I think they're good, but I think they have a lot of teams playing them off of bye weeks, and that's always a problem.
Fair. That's fair, and they always have a tough schedule, so we'll see. But that's Florida State's going to be an interesting job. How many other jobs? Tennessee might be open again.
But again, you got to be better than Oklahoma, and I think it's USC, Michigan, Auburn. Those are the ones that are objectively better.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, but the ones that are more likely to come available. How about the
return of the MAC? Mac Brown, 2-0 against 2 solid teams.
Not bad.
Beating 2 solid teams so far.
It's good to have him back.
I don't think he's doing anything, but he stands on the sideline and looks good.
Who's doing more, Mac Brown or Hugh Freeze?
Or Herm Edwards?
Listen, if Herm Edwards doesn't leave East Lansing with his tail between his legs next weekend, I'm going to be furious. And then we can get on here and talk about Michigan State as being awful.
Over a year and a half of Herm Edwards at Arizona State, and I haven't gotten any good press conference quotes at all. That's the shock.
I keep forgetting
I need some sound bites.
I forget that he's there until we play their team.
Yeah, I need some sound bites from him.
All right, that's all we got on the second straight college football NFL special edition of the mashup. NBA stuff coming as the NBA.
Tune in for baseball wild card next week.
Buddy, if Dave Dombrowski got canned,
Yeah, that's wild.
we got to visit that a little bit.
That's a wild one.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Later.